morning.
Morning. Want some coffee?
Oh, please. Anything in the mail?
A political ad, a flyer from the hardware store, another ad. Here's something from the bank. Remember, tonight we're going to Paul and Debbie's party. I think I'll wear the dress I bought last week when we went shopping together. Maybe I should buy a new pair of shoes and a purse to go with it. What do you think?
What? Are you crazy? What have you done to us?
What are you talking about? What's wrong?
Look at this. Look what you've done to us.
Check returned, insufficient funds. Check returned. Check returned, returned. I don't understand. How could this happen?
I'll tell you how it happened. You wrote checks for more money than we had in the bank. That's how it happened.
Wait a minute. I didn't write this one for $16.50.
That's for the gas station, I think.
You think? How about this one for $10?
I needed some new socks.
How about this one for $25? And this one for $12? I didn't write those.
Banking can be a challenging experience if you don't handle your money properly. A simple thing like a checking account can create an embarrassing problem for you and for the person or company receiving your check if it's written for more money than you have in the bank. In most cases, the check will not be honored when it's presented to the bank for payment, and you'll probably be charged an overdraft fee as well.
Okay, so I wrote a few of them too. But it's still your fault. You should have told me you were spending all our money.
I should have told you.
That's right.
How about you telling me?
Getting into financial trouble seems to be much easier today than it's ever been before. But for the most part, problems such as the one Jim and Judy are now experiencing can be avoided if you understand the banking system and the services that banks offer. Learning to handle and use your money wisely and learning to deal with banks and bankers really isn't that difficult to master once you've developed the skills to cope.
Maybe the bank made a mistake.
It's possible.
It happened to my parents once. When they reconciled their checking account, they discovered that the bank hadn't given them credit for a deposit that they'd made. So they took all of their records, including their deposit slips, down to the bank, and everything was straightened out.
We couldn't be that lucky. Could we?
Banks can and do make mistakes, not often. But despite all of the electronic computers they use to keep track of your money, the machines are still operated by people, and people make mistakes. You should always reconcile your checking account records at least once a month. Some banks offer check writing protection with automatic overdraft accounts. The bank, with your permission, can transfer money from your savings account into your checking account to cover any overdraft you may incur. Or in some instances, you can arrange with your bank to cover overdrafts with a personal note or through your bank credit card. Now, these services can be very useful, but you should know that they cost money, either in lost interest on your savings account or the interest charges you'll pay for the loan.
No such luck. We've overdrawn the account.
What are we going to do now?
I don't know. I guess you should call the bank.
Oh, no. Not me. You call them.
I still say it's your fault. You should call them.
Jim and Judy have created a problem for themselves in their joint checking account by not letting each other know the number and amount of the checks they've written. Now they must correct their error by making good on the checks.
You go ahead. I'll wait here.
Oh, no, you don't. We agreed we'd face this together. Now, come on. Come on.
All right. I'm coming.
How do you choose a bank when you decide you need banking services? Most people go to the one closest to where they live or work. It's more convenient. But in some instances, the convenience costs money. All banks within a state are required to pay the same rate of interest on the same kind of account. So in that respect, there's no difference between them. In fact, as long as you get the same interest rate compounded on the same basis, there's not much to choose from between any two banks, except service and the charges the bank makes for that service.
Morning.
Morning, Mr. Thomas.
Good morning.
Can I help you?
We seem to be having some trouble with our checking account.
What's the problem?
Well, we seem somehow to have overdrawn our account.
Our checks are bouncing around town like a bunch of little rubber balls.
Jim!
There are a few banking operations that cost money. Service and check writing charges, for instance, can cost several dollars a month. But some banks offer free checking accounts. You should try to locate one of them. And remember, checking accounts pay no interest, so keep as little money as possible in those accounts. Put any excess funds in a savings account that will bear interest.
We don't know what to do about it.
But the first thing you should do is make a deposit to cover your outstanding checks and the charges we've made to your account for returning them. That'll put your account into balance and solve your immediate problem.
I'm afraid we can't do that right now.
We're a little short of funds for about another week or so.
I see. Would you wait here a moment, please?
Sometimes it's helpful to know the process of a transaction to better understand how problems can occur. When a check is written and used as payment for goods or services, it takes the place of money. It is your written promise that you have sufficient funds in the bank to pay for your purchase. After someone accepts your check as payment, they usually deposit it in their bank, where it is credited to their account. The check is then sent to a clearinghouse, where it is sorted and returned to your bank for payment. Your bank then enters the amount of the check on your account records and deducts that amount from the funds you have in your account. At the end of the month, your bank sends you a statement that shows the number and amount of the checks you wrote, the number and amount of any deposits you made, and the balance remaining in your account. The statement will also show any charges the bank has made against your account, such as check writing or service charges, or check return charges, like those Jim and Judy have incurred. The statement in most cases will also have a place on the back for you to reconcile your account.
Would you come with me, please? Mr. Sloan would like to talk.
Hello, Jim. Judy?
Hello, Mr. Sloan.
Listen, Mr. Sloan, we've got a little problem here, but I'm sure we can work it out.
It's not such a little problem, Jim. You two have overdrawn your account by several $100s.
I know, but we'll take care of it.
How? I was told you didn't have the money to deposit to cover these checks you've written. Don't you have a savings account?
Well, yes, we do, but right at this minute, there's nothing in it.
Money in a savings account is one of the most important parts of providing for a secure financial future. It's a simple procedure to open one, and the amount of the initial deposit is unimportant. But in picking a savings account that's right for your needs, there are a few things you should know. For instance, full-service banks pay less interest on savings accounts than saving and loan associations. And both of these institutions will pay postage both ways, so you may want to consider banking with them by mail.
I don't know.
We'll make a deposit to cover the checks that we've written no later than day after tomorrow. I promise.
How will you get the money?
Well, there's lots of places we can get it.
Well, lots of places.
Well,
Please, Mr. Sloan.
all right. But no later than day after tomorrow.
We'll be here. Thank you, Mr. Sloan.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, and thanks.
There are three things you should consider when you open a savings account. First, you should choose the right kind of account for your needs. Second, choose the one that pays the highest rate of interest. And third, if several banks qualify on the first two, choose the one that compounds interest most frequently. Then, consider any gifts the bank may offer that can be added bonuses. It would have been so easy for Jim and Judy to avoid this problem, but now they're going to have to do something we all have to do now and then, borrow money. And they're going to have to do it under the worst of circumstances. They don't have time to plan the best way to borrow it, and time won't allow them to negotiate the best possible terms.
Where are we going to get that much money in a hurry?
I don't know. Maybe we can borrow it from your parents.
Oh, no, not my parents again. You'll have to call yours this time.
We can't call mine. We still owe them for the down payment that they helped us make on the TV, remember? And besides, I wouldn't want them to know that you can't keep your checking account straight.
If you say that one more time, I'm going to scream.
It wasn't my fault. Hello? Yes, she's here. Just a minute, please. It's Mr. Whitaker at the drugstore.
Oh, no, not another one.
Hello, Mr. Whitaker? How are you? I bet I know what you're calling about. It's about my check, right? Yes, well, I can explain. There was a little mix-up at our bank, and... Yes, I know that's my problem, Mr. Whitaker, but I... Yes, sir. I'll be in first thing in the morning. No, sir, no more bad checks. Yes, sir. Goodbye.
Mean old man.
That's the third call in the last hour. Maybe we better call everyone we wrote checks to and try and explain.
Yeah, maybe we better.
Wait, why don't we call Uncle Bill? He'll loan us the money.
Oh, we can't do that. We borrowed some money from him last month, didn't we?
But I paid him back.
When?
Last week, when we were over there for dinner, I wrote him a...
You didn't.
I did. Come on, let's call everyone we know. We've got to raise that money.
There are several sources available when it's necessary to borrow money. There are commercial banks, also known as full-service banks. There are savings banks, saving and loan associations, and for some, credit unions. But in almost all cases, these sources require some form of security before they'll make a loan. They'll accept property, houses, furniture, and other tangible goods for security. Or they'll loan money using your savings account as security, which is a good way to borrow money. Their interest rates are competitive and usually lower than consumer type credit, such as credit cards, store charge accounts, and finance company loans, which are the least favorable ways to borrow money. Whenever it becomes necessary for you to borrow money, whether it's to buy a home, a car, household goods, or whatever, you should always shop around for the most favorable terms. And the best time to do that is before you make your purchase. If time is not a factor, another good source for a loan is your life insurance policy. If you've had one in force for a few years, it will have accumulated a cash value that you can borrow against. Remember, none of these sources offer the same terms, even for loans that are made for the same purpose. That's why it's very important to take the time to determine the best source for your needs.
Well, that does it. How much do we have now?
We now have a grand total of $85. So much for our friends.
Things are tough all over, I guess.
Jim, I don't care what you say. We have only one choice. We have to call Uncle Bill and ask him to loan us the money.
No.
Well, then, I guess you'd better call your parents.
I think we better call Uncle Bill.
Another thing you should consider when you borrow money is the length of time a lender allows you to repay the loan. The longer you take to repay the loan, the smaller your payments will be. And that can seem to be very attractive. But you'll also pay more interest on the loan. In most cases, you're better off to take the shortest possible time to repay a loan. You save money.
I'm sorry, Uncle Bill, but we didn't know who else to turn to. Thanks a lot, Uncle Bill. We'll repay you every cent with interest. What conditions? Uncle Bill, that'd be so embarrassing.
What would be embarrassing?
Just a minute, Uncle Bill. He says he'll loan us the money, but we have to go back to everyone we wrote a check to and apologize.
Oh.
All right, Uncle Bill, we'll do it. Oh, but Uncle Bill... All right, we'll bring them over this afternoon when we pick up your check. Yes, both of them. Yes. And thanks, Uncle Bill. Goodbye. He said that this is the last time he's going to help us and that he means it this time.
He's right. And I hope you finally learned your lesson.
Me? Wait till you hear what his other condition is. You won't be so smug then.
Banks and bankers have changed dramatically in the last several years. The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC, has increased the insurance that protects your savings against loss in the event of a bank failure, which does occur now and then. The banks have extended their business hours to better meet your needs, and they offer more services than ever before, such as safety deposit boxes, certified and cashier's checks, money orders and traveler's checks, savings certificates that pay higher interest rates, bank credit cards, and savings to checking transfers. But it's up to you to determine how all of these and other services can help you fill your banking needs and help you plan and maintain a secure financial future.
We're sorry for all the trouble we caused, Mr. Sloan.
Just try not to let it happen again.
Oh, I can guarantee it won't happen again, at least for a little while. Uncle Bill tore up our checkbooks when he agreed to loan us the money.
Well, I'm sure you'll earn them back soon.
Banking institutions can provide many useful services in addition to those we've already seen, and you should know about them. Some can help you with a will or help you set up a trust fund or retirement fund, and some provide safe deposit boxes. In some cases, these services are free. Shop around. Get to know your banker. Don't think for a minute that preferential treatment isn't extended to some bank customers. It happens every day. By knowing your banker and letting him know you, you increase your chances of becoming one of those preferred customers. It takes very little time, and it might be very helpful to you in the future. There's no deep, dark secret to getting the most out of banking. It's just a matter of common sense and a little knowledge about the system. Once you begin to apply that knowledge, you will have taken a big step forward to a more secure financial future. We've told you a few ways you can effectively use the banking system. How to choose a banker, what you should expect from a banker and the services the bank provides, what your responsibilities are in the process, and some things you can do to increase your chances for a secure financial future. We've told you these things because this information is important to you as a consumer of banking services, and because you should know.